Okay, moving right along on the public agenda, we have two people to speak on the public agenda. The first person is Brent Thomas Davis, and the subject matter is calling for the City Council to pass an ordinance like other cities our size have to prevent the appearance of impropriety in the allocation of contracts, subsidies to other financial outlays, and so to ensure the honesty and fairness in our local government. Morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Brent Thomas Davis, and I reside at 2200 North Stony Brook Circle, Wichita, Kansas 67226. Honored Mayor, City Council members, I come before you today because I've been reading and hearing things that concern me and that I believe should concern you, as well as they should concern all the citizens of our wonderful city, and that is fairness and honesty. It seems that some businesses that produce goods or provide services in this city come and ask for municipal loans, special tax and considerations, subsidies, gifts of one kind or another. When one business receives such benefits and its competitors do not, then that business has a comparative advantage, a competitive advantage over its competitors. Since every business owner is trying his or her best to make a living, grow or maintain revenues, and utilize their employees efficiently, possibly hire new employees, it's not equal treatment under the law if one business gets help and others don't. A lot of times it's easy to see the big edifice that is created when you give money to a particular group. One of the easiest ways to see this is you look in the Middle East and you see the great pyramids of Giza. And these great pyramids are nothing but tombs. But they're huge, they're considered wonders of the world because all of this energy, all of this effort, all of this public subsidy went in to create these things, but they're just dead. It's easy to see those things, but what you don't see is all the little jobs, the way that people didn't get to hire people to do their lawn services, to build their little homes, to do little things. You don't see all of the destruction that occurred on the small scale. And when we give money to big corporations in order to try to help them, they do well, like the pyramids, but all the small businesses suffer. People can't afford to do maintenance work on their homes. So then people who live in poor communities that could do jobs like lawn service, they don't get hired. And so it ends up hurting the community. You feel like you're doing something good, but you're not. So basically this is rather like a policeman setting up on the highway and stopping only the poor cars and giving their drivers tickets while letting the Mercedes, Lexus, or Cadillac drivers go any speed they want. It's just one example of the fallout of this. One example of the fallout of this behavior is the extravagant Warren Theater in Old Town that's still around, but here in North Rock is out of business. The frugal North Rock Theater. I guess you could call this actually Porsche politics. And yeah, that's the way it's been the status quo, but it doesn't have to be that way. We could change things here in our city. I'm an economist and entrepreneur, and so I'm sensitive to the costs of the behavior of giving subsidies to one particular business and not to others. What are the costs? Such behavior increases the costs borne by the businesses in the community that don't get these favors. They have reduced revenues. They have to neglect maintenance on their capital investments. They have to lay off workers. They're disincentivized to work hard and do good. And they're incentivized to try to spend money seeking government favors. That's a wasteful activity. They need to be concentrating on their business, not trying to get favors with people in government so that they can get special handouts. The marginal businesses go out of business. In the meantime, we have overinvestment in luxury and high-end and inefficient services that are unsustainable, and our market is shunned by businesses who are who are unwilling or unable to engage in Porsche politics. Since what is desired is an economy that is churning a creation of new businesses and the destruction of old ones based on the will and values of our community expressed in the people's freely expressed spending of money on goods and services that they want. Thus, it's best to only encourage business activity across the board, equally and fairly, equally before the law, fairly, with each business person focused on their business and meeting the needs of consumers efficiently, not on sending workers down here to answer questions about why their IRB, about their IRB. I mean, we have accountants and people here from businesses right now that are being paid to come here to try to explain why they're getting to get their tax revenue write-offs. When those, but when people are focusing on their business, some of these businesses take off, and we never know which ones will. We never know which is going to be the next Pizza Hut, Cessna, or even Apple. When those companies take off, they promote job growth in a big way, and not only in their own industry, but all the other job centers in the Wichita market. Now, this activity started really coming to my attention during the Vote No campaign in the primary election this past fall. Since that time, I've taken to getting more of my local information from the internet rather than just the local paper, which tends to emphasize only one side of local issues. I think that you're going to see this kind of shift happening. More and more people are going to start trying to find alternate sources of information, and one that I turn to is wichitaliberty.org. And I've come here, though, not to call anybody to resign from their office or to say that anyone's done anything wrong per se. There are dozens of articles on Voice of Liberty that lay those kind of possibilities out for consideration, but I'm not coming to talk about that. What I've come to say, however, is that it's time for us to say no to the very appearance of impropriety and dishonesty. A time for us to say no to picking certain businesses to thrive while forcing others to suffer the costs of competitive shackles. It's a time to say no to those who think that they can buy their way to privilege by contributing to political campaigns, and that time is now. So right now, I'm going to ask my councilman, Pete Meitzner, to make a motion to have the city staff draw up an ordinance like those in New Jersey, Texas, and California that prohibits any council member from drawing mistrust upon himself by voting to award a significant city contract to a significant campaign contributor. Now, I understand, Pete may get money from Coke, let's say, to help his campaign, because it's fine for businesses.
Can we ask you to please, our clock isn't working, so I don't know when your 5 minutes is up. It's still staying at 5 minutes, so can you please go ahead and wrap up?
Yeah, I'm wrapping up, sir. Thank you.
All right.
I have 2 more lines. Okay. So I understand that it's fine for businesses to give campaign contributions to candidates. But when you get a significant number from any one group, like for instance, let's say Pete might get a significant number from Coke, he may have to recuse himself from a vote about something for Coke so as not to appear to be impartial in his decision making and to have that happening because he got so many contributions from Coke or from any particular company. So what I'm asking is that today some brave council member to stand up and second the motion. I hope Pete will make. Maybe he won't make it. Maybe he'll say he doesn't feel like he can make it.
Sir, council member, this is not the environment where the council member is going to make a motion. So
yes, yeah, it's not the right particular time because it'd be out of order right now. I call upon the honorable members of this council to approve the motion and the second, and set in motion the legal force to guarantee to all people, all businesses, all workers in this community that Wichita is a place where any man and any woman in any business can get ahead by being his or her very best at their own work, by doing their work in the most efficient way, not by currying political influence, not by playing Porsche politics. Thank you.
Yeah. Are there any questions? Just a minute, sir.
Oh, okay.
Councilman Meitzner.
And Mr. Davis, thanks for your presentation. It wouldn't be in order for me to make a motion. It's not
right
part
now.
of the process. So, but I understand your passion about this, and I think integrity and honesty is from my experience in the year and a half I've been on here, has been above board and very transparent. You mentioned other venues. You said, I think, Pizza Hut, Cessna, Apple. I'm familiar with all three of those fairly well. Pizza Hut for sure, and Cessna has created a billion jobs for us over the years and have been involved in IRBs and other things. So saying so, and then you said Apple, who I know it appears that Apple is something. I just want to point out that we're competing very difficultly against Austin, Texas. On March 22nd this year, the Austin City Council approved $8.6 million in a grant to Apple to expand their offices and to bring in 3,600 jobs in Austin, Texas. So when we say words like Cessna and Apple, like that's supposed to resonate to say they've never had a thing in their life. We're competing in a nationwide and in a lot of times a global market under the rules and the guidelines that are established. I don't like the rules and guidelines a lot of times, but that's the rules of the game. And as a competitor and as the largest city in the state of Kansas, I believe it would be remiss if we don't compete in a responsible way with a lot of discipline around it. So thank you for your comments.
May I respond to that briefly? It appears that we're going to get more jobs by giving subsidies like that. But the subsidies don't come from thin air. They come from tax revenues that would be spent on other things. Either you have to tax people more or you have to neglect services. I mean, when we neglect our roads, then you have potholes, people have to get more alignments, that sort of thing. It reduces the wealth of the community. So you don't really get more jobs, you get pyramids. You get things that you can see, so we need to not do those things. It's not competing. What's competing is when you work hard at a business and you do things more efficiently. It's not handing out special favors to get people to come there, because that hurts all the other businesses in your community. So it's a mirage.
Well, that's why we have specific independent return on investment things, and so we can debate. If you'd like to call me sometime, I'd be glad to have a further dialogue.
Sure.
You can arrange it through the city council and office, and I'd be glad to have a discussion with you.
I've read a number of these reports that are put out by the Wichita Hugo Wall School of Management and their economic department up there, and I can't remember the name of the economic department, but I've read a number of them. And what is hard to account for is the opportunity costs of these investments. You can't see the individual jobs.
Let's talk about that, and we'll review. I'll get Jeremy to join us too, and he can explain the formulas. At least they're independent. It's not staff or quote government people doing these. There is a form of independence on this. So
yes,
just make a phone call and we'll set up an appointment.
Okay.
Questions? Okay, thank you.